Action.
Hello, my name is Cherokee Ray, and today I will be talking about what have I learned in interpersonal communication. And today I have my sister as a recorder, and my nephew as a guest, and my mom as a guest also. What have I learned in this course is how to apply the communication process and theories in my everyday life. Communication is a process used to generate meaning, and it's a complex process with many factors. Communication is transactional and is a dynamic process that the participants create through interaction with one another. Communication is important. We all need to communicate. Theories are information used or research to help us generate data. In today's society, most of us do not know how to communicate with each other. Communication has principles which accommodate the insights of the communication model. According to Campbell 2004, these principles help us to exchange the flow of ideas and information from one to another. Communication includes 5 principles. The first principle is communication is transactional and is a dynamic process that the participants use to interact with one another. Schramm's model introduced the idea of feedback from the receiver to the sender. Also, communication becomes a continuous process of messages and feedback. The model allows for interaction. That's Croft 2004. Communication can be intentionally or non-intentionally. For example, a child that cannot talk and goes in the store and wants something, just constantly crying and pointing, and you have to figure out what the baby is pointing at because the baby cannot communicate to you to let you know what they're talking about. So they're just pointing, and after a while, you'll know you got to pick up 5 different items to see which item they want. And communication is irreversible. It is impossible to receive a message in words as once said or done. For instance, if I wanted to redo this paper all over again, I probably would not say the same thing I said in the same order as I'm saying it now. Or if I'm doing a project at school and I don't have my jump drive and my computer blank out and I didn't save the data and I have to retype it over, it won't be in the same form that I typed it in the first time. It'll be different. It won't be the same words. It'll be worded differently. Okay? Communication is unrepeatable because the same words and behavior are different each time they are spoken or performed. For instance, if I get into an argument and I say some things that I didn't mean, but I said it, but I can't unsay it, even though if I didn't mean it, the person probably took as I meant what I said, even though I did not. It just was things I said that cannot be taken back. So that's why you should watch what you say and watch how you communicate, and you have to think before you speak. And number 5 is communication have a content and a relational dimension. The content dimensional involves the information being explicitly discussed, while the relational dimension expresses how you feel about the other person. Aristotle's models of communication is based on a hypothesis and factors that emphasize the impact, why, and how individuals communicate. So we have different type of communications. You communicate different. It's like a hypothesis, like the receiver have to send in order for the sender to receive. So if I say something, I'm sending a message in. I need feedback from the sender, and it's like a whole little cycle. For instance, like with the number 5 principle, you can't speak on anything that you don't have facts about. So you need to know facts before trying to communicate, because you don't want to communicate the wrong idea and have everybody else confused about what you're saying. So you have to think before you get your thoughts together before you try to communicate. communicating is important. Like I said before, many people do not know how to communicate. And applying theories and principles of communication will help us make sense of what happens in our everyday life. Like I said, either you communicate different in different environments, at your workhouse, at the schoolhouse, when you go in the store, you communicate, you wave at people, or you make facial expressions at people. If you go in the room, in a stinking room, you're gonna make it's stinking here facial expression. Or if you see someone that don't look too hot to you, you might turn your nose up because it's not what you like. And if you do see something that you do like, you're probably going to show that you like it. Or even if I'm happy or even if I'm sad, you're going to know the difference in my facial expressions. And people are different in ways in which they experience things and emotional responses, leading to difficulties in many communities are encoded, transmitted, received, and understood. Some people attach different meanings to words and gestures using communication. However, we must continue to take the necessary steps in order to be a successful communicator. So in this class, I learned how to communicate differently than what I was before. And like I said, communication is a process used to generate the meaning. So you have to understand what is communication in order to communicate. So you don't want to delay the wrong message out to people and you really don't have what you're trying to say. So you have to look at the models and get a good understanding of all the principles of communication. And to conclude this, I really enjoyed learning more about communication.